Welcome to Showverse. I'm your host, Kylene, and today I will be talking about the Amazon Prime upcoming series, The Wheel of Time. I have been waiting for this show to come about for a long time. I first started reading Robert Jordan's books back, it's been at least a good 10 years, if not more. A little bit of backstory. I randomly came across his books at the library one time when I was living in Glendale, Arizona. And I checked it out thinking, oh, this is something interesting. I love fantasy. I've never read this author before. So I started reading the book and I fell in love with the story. And eventually I switched to the audiobook and I listened to the first audiobook and I'm like, you know what, this is great. I'll talk to my then boyfriend at the time. His name was James. And I got him into the books and then we started listening to the audiobooks for a while there. And then I ended up getting my now husband involved in it and we've been watching it constantly, like not watching it but like listening to the audiobooks constantly. And now with the new series coming out, we are been watching the different trailers and theorizing about all kinds of stuff that we would like to see happen in the show. What parts we think we'll take out of this of the books because either A, it's like a lot of filler, or B, it's not relevant to the overall plot of the story, but it's just, it's fun to read. And so today's video, just so you're aware, there are going to be a massive amount of spoilers because I will be talking about the different books and my predictions for the series as a whole and what I'd like to see in there and what I think could probably be left out, or, maybe I wouldn't necessarily be like, that needs to be in there, but it would be like nice to see things like that. So let's start off first with talking a little bit about the Wheel of Time itself. The main character, his name is Randall Thor. He was born on the slopes of Dragonmount. You find later in the end of the second book, The Great Hunt, and or the beginning of the third one, The Dragon. No, I think it's the end of The Great Hunt, if I remember correctly, where you find out that he is the Dragon Reborn and that he's just been trying to avoid all of this because he doesn't want to be used by the Aes Sedai, particularly Moiraine Domadrid, who is a person of the Blue Aja who's been looking for the dragon. But anyway, so he tries to avoid it for so long until he finally proclaims himself the Dragon Reborn. Um, there are three people from the village that he is with, himself and two other males, Perrin Ibarra and Matrim Coffin, or Matt, who is my favorite character in the books. I cannot wait to see him on the screen. Just saying, wow. Anyways, they are ta'veren, which are basically people that are affected by the pattern, whether they affect the pattern itself and causes all these ripple effects, or the pattern molds them into a specific way where, they need to be done. But, like, regardless, they are hugely destined to do things. And everything that they do causes massive effects on the pattern. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills, as they say a lot. And also the light burn you. Oh, naive. Anyways, so that's the premise of the story. He's the Dragon Reborn. He's destined to fight the Dark One, and come about another breaking of the world in order to save it, basically. So, like, they're all three ta'veren. They're from the same village, the Two Rivers. They're also accompanied by Egwene Alvir and Nynaeve Almira. Anyways, Egwene and Nynaeve they both ended up traveling with them out of the Two Rivers. Technically, Egwene was invited out with them, but because she possesses the one power, which is touching the source of magic in the world. And then Nynaeve follows the four out of the village, worried that, the Aes Sedai is gonna, pull them like puppets. But anyways, and then you find out she also has the one power, so fun times. Lots of other spoilers. I'm going off topic, but anyways, that's the meat of the story, and that's what starts the whole adventure of them going to Tarvalin, which is the city where they're the magic, and then a lot of different things happen. They keep splitting up, coming back together, murder, fights. It's great. But that's just like the general gist of it. But today I want to focus more on the parts that I wanted to see in the show and things like that. But I think it's interesting from what I saw from the trailer where Moraine says one of the 5 could be the Dragon Reborn, which is kind of nice, making it so it's open gender for the dragon, because in the books it was straight up, she was like, it's one of the 3 ta'veren, one of them. So, but I kind of like how they incorporated that in the show. But, you know, Rand's the dragon. I mean, and if they change that, that'd be kind of weird. I don't think they would. Like, Rand is the Dragon Reborn. He's destined to fight the Dark One. So that was interesting, the little change that they did there. Another thing was when, in the trailer, Nani pushed Egwene into the fountain. Is that supposed to be the way of becoming a woman instead of like the braid and stuff that they were doing in the books? I don't know. I'm kind of curious. It looks like it. And like seeing Egwene come out of the water with all the 7 Aja colors, is that supposed to be their way of going into accepted now? Like, I'm curious because they would like have to do the pillars and stuff, and I'm really hoping that they keep the pillars there, because I'm kind of thinking that scene with Egwene and Rand in the trailer where it looked like they just had sex was the way, you know, when she had that dream, or not the dream, but she was in the pillar, and one of the things was the fact that she was married to Rand and she was holding a baby and stuff, and I'm wondering if they did that instead. I'm kind of hoping, because they never actually got together in the books. I really hope they don't get together in the series, because I really think it puts away from the way the books turned out. I mean, don't get me wrong, if they do that, I get it, it's creative liberty, but I really don't think they were ever right for each other, and I kind of don't want to see that on the screen. And one thing I am curious about is how they're going to handle Rand and Min's relationship, because Min is such an interesting character in the books, but she is on and off in the books so much. Like, I kind of want to see her more on the screen, but I don't know how like they're going to play out that relationship. It's very, that's something I'm like anticipating. I'm not going to like predict any way or the other on this one. I just want to see it like unfold, how they portray that. That is going to be, that's one of my biggest ones. And then my top moment, which I know isn't going to be in the first season, but I really hope that they do not take it out of the books at all, because I personally think it's like a really big development, is Matt and the daughter of the 9 Moons, Tuon. I want to see them, like, their whole dynamic. I want to see the Shan Chan and like the fight with Rand against Balsamon. I'm hoping that's like either the mid-season or like the finale of the first season, like that whole fight on was it Tomon Head? Yeah, I think it was Tomon Head. But anyways, that whole fight there, like, you know, them picturing in the sky, and that proclaims him the Dragon Reborn, and like, oh, the fiery red eyes. I want to see that so much, so much. Oh, and the Forsaken in general. Like, who is going to be Lanfear? Like, she's described as like the most beautiful woman basically in existence in the books, the way it sounds. And I want to see who they cast as Lanfear, and the other Forsaken for that matter, because, you know, they're especially Asmodean. Ooh. And Tom and Moraine's relationship in the books kind of blindsided me in a way. Like, I mean, there were little hints at the beginning, but they never really showed each other together much. So I'm really hoping that they keep their relationship, but they actually show it more on the screen. Because I know Moraine is an Aes Sedai, and she tries to keep a cool demeanor all times, but I'd love to see her, Tom, crack away at that. And her crack away at Tom from his, like, Tomness. Like, things like that. They just, like, they sound really good. I could definitely go without the whole Berylane thing. Like, Berylane is, like, I mean, I guess she's important to some people in the book, but I never really liked Berylane so much. And Fail. I'd like to see Fail because Perrin needs somebody too, but his Falcon. The whole spout in that one book when they shortly after they got married and stuff, and like it's like you have to fight with her, you know, she'll go along with you in public, but you need like fight out your relationship. And some of the lines and stuff in there, especially like parents' internal monologue, it is so hilarious, and I'd love to see even just like a little bit of that, even just a few scenes here and there. You know, it doesn't have to be like drawn out, but I'd love to just like see that because like the three characters, like you just grow to them because of the fact that they're Taviran, and it's just like a lot of their scenes that I've seen with them were so great, so great. Another thing that I'm curious about is they showed Varen. I'm curious how they're gonna show Varen because she's a dark friend and she's doing all this stuff, but she's still trying to look like she's not one, and she did it all just so she could find out all this information against the Black Aja and all this other stuff. And I'm wondering if they're gonna still use that because at the end she like was able to talk about it because she poisoned herself, I think it was, so she could tell Egwene everything that was going on because of the oath she swore to the Dark One. But I'm curious if they're even going to show that with Varen because it isn't necessarily hugely plot relevant until like the very end. You know, I mean, it would be something interesting to throw in there, but it's not like make or break for the show, I don't think. There's more I have in store for talking about this show, but I think that's going to be it for this one. I will be talking about the episodes on the actual Showverse podcast as I watch them. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. There is a schedule up on the website already and on the newsletter. So go ahead and go to kaiscornerproductions.com, and at the bottom of every single page has the thing to sign up for the newsletter. We will be releasing content almost daily come February for Showverse and the podcast between the two of them. But the schedule is starting to slowly be put out, and hopefully by the middle to end of December, most of the schedule will be out, at least for the first few months of next year. And as always, we do a lot of gaming streams on the Nami Nation, so go check out some of those. I'm one of the streamers for the Twitch videos. And have a great and wonderful holiday, and I will see you guys soon with more Wheel of Time as well as other content.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching.
You can check out our website for all the content we produce.
Clicking all those YouTube buttons makes it so you see more content from myself and the other amazing creators at Kai's Corner Productions. All donations help us produce more stuff like that for you.
See you guys in the next one. Peace.